Hello and welcome to my channel today. You're going to get to sit on the dashboard, hopefully, and see me. Maybe not, I don't know. But I'm going to talk to you while I'm driving, because I can. Move that out of the way. Alright, so here's what's going on. The weather's been extraordinarily cold, and it has suppressed the hay growth. Not that the hay growth is terrible, but it ain't as good as I'd like it to be. I was just out and inspected a few of the fields that I had got fertilizer on. But now, today, it's like 90 degrees, and it should be... Oh, you're going to tilt over, and then you're going to come back. It should be good, though. 90 degree day, say 60 degree night. I'd be pretty happy with that. And the grass will continue to grow. Like Dad says, he says, well, just don't come back here for another 3 weeks and we should be good. I'm all for that. I don't want to cut too early. I know last year we had cut early and it just didn't yield like it was supposed to. But that's all right. So anyways, what I want to talk about is I've gotten a few phone calls. One today, which was, I had a nice chat with a fella. He's from South Jersey, and I knew this was happening. I just hadn't heard that it was happening to other people. And then immediately after I got off the phone with this man, God, this truck is sounding funny. Anyways, the minute I got off the phone with him, I had to call John Deere and order the hitch assembly for my 8530 John Deere tractor, because I'm not going to use the European style hitch on that. So anyway, what we were talking about was how the parts from John Deere and other manufacturers have gone up as much as twice as expensive. And because, well, I know why, but maybe y'all don't know why, but because they're not selling new tractors, combines, hay mowers, and other things like that like they were over the last 5 or 6 years. And, as the farm economy starts to fail and they stop selling brand new pieces of equipment, they have to make their money somewhere or they're going to go out of business. So, if it costs me a third of the price of a new one to fix up my old tractor or my old hay baler or whatever it is, and that's what I'll do, and instead of buying a new one. It's just how we kind of stay in business here. But now the manufacturers, because they're not selling new ones, are just gouging the hell out of everybody on their parts. I know that a couple of months ago I called out to Deere Country on this hitch, brand new hitch. I was going to get a used one out of, say, Abilene Machine or one of those, and they were like, we don't have any of those, which kind of blew my mind, because yeah, they don't have them. God darn it, people don't know how to drive today. They may not have the used ones, but they do sell the new ones. Now the new one, I had a price quote done from Deere Country, and that's good for like 90 days, 60 or 90 days. And of course, what that did, God, I'm tired. I don't know why. I'm not getting enough air. Air quality is very poor today, so there's a little less oxygen in the air. That's why I'm doing it. But anyway, the price quote locked in the price to what it was a month or so ago, before they decided they would start gouging the hell out of us farmers for the parts to make up for the lack of sales of new equipment. So anyway, he said it was substantial. He didn't give me a percentage or even what it would cost. But that hitch, with all the nuts, bolts, washers, and everything, is $2,400 and some odd dollars, just for a drawbar and all the support brackets and everything. So I couldn't imagine it doubling. But even if they did add $1,000 to it, that's insane. I mean, really. But I can't pull my baler without it, so I had to do that. Whew. Anyway, So that's, maybe you guys are experiencing some of the same. I know I had a guy yesterday call me up, and he was complaining about, and that's why I knew this was happening, because I haven't really bought any parts for much, other than Mack truck parts. I haven't really had to do too much to the tractors this year. They're all in pretty decent shape. So other than the front suspension on that 8530, everything's been pretty good. But anyways, got a call. That was yesterday, and the guy told me that he bought pretty much the same parts that he bought last year for his corn planter, and it cost him almost twice to redo his corn planter. They were the same parts. If you farm the same amount of ground and you replace the same wear parts, you're just going to buy the same parts every year. Maybe with the exception of a couple of others, like other things. Of course, you're always going to have something a little different. But to actually get charged, to be charged almost twice for the same order, that's just highway robbery. And it's going to have to end soon enough, because corn is not even $4 a bushel. It costs us more to grow $3.50 corn now than it did 20 years ago when it was $3.50 a bushel. And what? The combine used to be able to get for $120,000, say 20 years ago. Now you're looking at $400,000, $500,000, $500,000 for these things. So it's kind of tough. Baler. Me and Dad were just talking about my baler. My first baler I paid $18,500 for. Yes, it was used. It was only 4 years old. And, it was used. And I used it for 7 years. The second baler I paid $59,000 for. The third baler I paid $89,000 for. Fourth baler was like $100 and change. The fifth baler, let's see, yeah, that would be the fifth one. The BB9, what is that? BB 340 crop cutter. That was expensive. That was I think that one was around $150,000. And now, of course, this Krone baler, which was $173,000. So you go from $18,500 for a used baler up to $173,000. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And then, of course, the mower, the first case mower I bought, that was I think I had $91,000 for that thing when I bought it new in 2008. Tried to buy that for $190,000. I paid $160,000 for the John Deere, which I would buy a John Deere 10 times over that damn case, New Holland. But anyways, everything's going up. Price of hay and corn and soybeans are kind of like stuck in a lull. But now, like wheat, we were talking about wheat. I used to go out and you put a little fertilizer on in the fall, some 19 or whatever, and you planted your wheat, and you put it on nitrogen in the spring, and then boom, you harvested your wheat, you had straw. Now, you go out, you plant wheat, you got to still put that same amount of fertilizer on there, plus a fungicide, because you know what? It's going to get fungus, which we never had before. Then in the spring, you're going to have to put split applications of fertilizer along with 2 treatments of fungicide, straw stiffener, and straw growth inhibitor, and you can push the wheat to 110 bushels to the acre. Well, Jesus, I grew 100 bushel wheat back in the early 90s, late 90s, late 90s when I was growing wheat. I grew nice wheat, and I didn't have to do all of that, and guess what? I was getting $5 a bushel then, $4 a bushel then. I don't think I ever sold wheat for anything under $3. Plus I had that 3/4 to a ton of straw to the acre, which I was able to sell for about $100 a ton, and that was all good. Everything's cattywampus. And I think the farm economy is set to fall, set to fail. A lot of guys that are overextended to the point where they don't even know if they're going to be able to pay their bill. I mean, yeah, it's just set like that. I've got equipment that I could sell if I needed to, if my loan got called in, and I'd be just fine. Plus, I still got a crop. I mean, I still got $100,000 worth of old hay before I start the new season. So what the hell? I mean, I'm good to go. But there's a lot of people out there. The bins are empty. The fertilizer's going on, and they're looking at not even $4 a bushel corn. Anyways, that's enough of me ranting and raving about this stuff. It just blows my mind that the equipment dealers are gouging the shit out of us for parts. They're going to naturally sell more parts if they're not selling new equipment, because people are buying parts to fix their older equipment up instead of spending the millions of dollars on a new piece of equipment, because they're highly overpriced and out of touch with reality, in conjunction with the price of grain and hay and straw and everything else. Guys, thanks again. Have a nice day. Hope you don't get too damned offended. Well, actually, I don't care, but have a nice one.